Greetings, survival horror fans. EQA Nostalgia here, and today I want to ask you guys a question. Do you want a Resident Evil 2 remake, or do you want a Resident Evil 2 reboot? Because I think that some people in this community might be a little confused about the difference. So what I want to do first of all is break down the difference between a remake and a reboot. I'm also going to throw a remaster in there just for the hell of it, because just for reasons. So a remaster, that's pretty much when they take something and they brush up the graphics a little bit. In most cases, what we're seeing from remasters are like PS2 games being brought up to PS4. They take it and they bring it into HD and they'll give it a little bit of a touch up on the graphics, and that's it. That's usually all they wrote, and then there's your remaster. A remake is where they take something like Resident Evil 2 and they bring it into a more modern style of graphics. They don't have to be mind-blowing graphics, but they redo the graphics, and the mechanics are largely unchanged. The story is largely unchanged, but the biggest thing is that they really have to start from scratch. They can't just touch it up. They don't go in with like a little brush and touch it up with like a remaster. They go in and they go to the root of that shit, and they tear it out and they put something new in its place, but it still resembles what it was before. It still plays like it did before. It just looks a hell of a lot better. They might add some new mechanics to it, give it something different, like you can shoot and move, for example, whereas you couldn't before. But for the most part, largely unchanged. A reboot on the other hand, that's where they toss pretty much everything out the window. There might be some semblance there, like the main character is still there, but their backstory can be different, the whole story can be different, the mechanics can be different. I'm looking at Tomb Raider 2013 in specific. They've rebooted it a couple of times now, and this latest reboot, it took Tomb Raider and made it more of a puzzle-based kind of a game and went way more towards an action-style, cinematic-style type of game. Made it open world feel too. They gave it more of an open world feeling. And yeah, the story's different. Lara is still Lara. She still has her father as a big part of the story, but there's changes there. There's things that are different. It's weird, but so many people just look at it like, oh, you're just changing the view. That's all you're doing. No, that's not all you're doing. If you just took Resident Evil 2 and made it over the shoulder and didn't do anything else, do you know how broken that shit would be? I can't even begin to describe to you how broken it would be. First of all, you'd have to add in headshots, because if you shot a zombie like 15 times in the head and it didn't go down, you'd walk away and be like, fuck this game. Instantly. The mechanics don't match up, guys. You can't just change the camera and, oh, we'll just change it. No. People that say that to me, I can tell you have no idea what game development is. You just don't understand. You can't just change the view and expect the entire game to work around it. It just doesn't work that way. We're talking about the drops, health items, and all of the ammunition. You go in over the shoulder, all of a sudden now you can zoom in on the head. Now you can take them down a lot easier. You're going to need more of them, right? Because if you can take them down so easy, the enemies that are in Resident Evil 2 right now, that's boring. You just next, no suspense at all. Just pop everything in the fucking head and go. You can't do that. You'd have to add more enemies. And when you add more enemies, all of a sudden now you've got a ton of enemies in a small area. That doesn't work, guys. Claustrophobic environments are a huge part of Resident Evil 1 and 2. 3, things start to open up more, and even 2, things opened up more than 1, but not that much more. You're dealing with claustrophobic corridors in areas that really, they don't lend themselves that well to just being able to pop an enemy in the head. And once you start fucking with all of that and trying to fix all of it and dance around that and mold it to make it work, by the time you're done and you've got something that works and it's fun to play, you've got a completely different game. Now, I will say one thing. If you were to make the enemies more dangerous, and this is something that they're talking about with Resident Evil 7, there's going to be fewer enemies, you're not going to have a ton of zombies coming at you, or granados or anything like that, but the enemy's a bigger threat. You could do that with Resident Evil 2, sure, but how much of a threat can you make out of a zombie? And a lot of that game has to do with zombies. So what are you going to do? Is you going to make super zombies? How do you dance around that? How would you make the enemies more lethal? Maybe, I don't know, zombies with helmets or something on? You'd have to do something to just get around all the rest of the fodder that you would blast away. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm saying that by the time you do it, it's no longer a remake and it's a reboot. So, you know, some people might say no, they might say I'm mistaken, and there are gray areas. I'm not going to say it's just black and white. There are gray areas where you can just play around a little bit with what makes a remake and a reboot a reboot. But for the most part, the remake stays very true to what it originally was. A reboot is free to kind of do its own thing as long as the structure of the story is there, the general frame of it. Now, if Capcom was to come out tomorrow and say, hey, guess what, guys? We're doing a reboot. What are your thoughts on it? I'd say, fuck yeah, I'm all about it. Do it, but I want a remake first. Okay, I want my fixed camera angles and tank controls and a remake. I've been asking for it for a long time. Get off me. Back away. Back away, son. Don't fuck with me in my remake. Don't get in the way. We can have a remaster afterwards. That's fine. That's fine. But don't stick your hand in my cookie jar, because I'll fucking bite it, dude. I don't want to hear any more about this over-the-shoulder shit. Not yet. Please. Let me get my fucking remake. But yeah, those are the differences, guys. Now, you can agree with me or disagree with me, but at this point, I want to kick it over to you. I want to know what you think about all of this down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to rate it thumbs up. I thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video.